Welcome to the Shit Show. It's not a hit show. It's the Stay Sheet Show. It's the Sheet Show.
Welcome to the Shit Show. Here's your host, Logan Graham.
Welcome to the Shit Show. I am your host, Logan Graham. And if you didn't know, you can follow us on X at Logan Graham Now. You can find us on the web at SWOYM.com. You can also find us on Facebook. And of course, we put this show on YouTube as well. So you can find us out there on YouTube at the SWOYM YouTube channel. And today, I've got my host, Sydney K.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
Well, all right. So how are you today, Sydney?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Not too bad. We've got an interesting topic, I think, today. I think today we're going to be discussing, is nature trying to kill us?
Okay.
Yeah, does that sound ominous when I say, is nature trying to kill us?
It does sound a little scary, yes.
All right. Well, just to let you know, I'm not a biologist or a zoologist, or as most of you pronounce it, a zoologist. I don't profess to have any knowledge about the environment or geology, but what we do around here at the Shit Show is we look online at the web and see what people are talking about, and we discuss it here. The ideas, the thoughts. We're not trying to necessarily sway you one way or the other, just putting it out there. And what we'd like you to do is leave comments below. So if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, just leave us a comment and some feedback. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can get more of our content. And with that said, let's get into this thought about nature trying to kill us all.
Well, let's hope that's not true. But what ideas or what information have you found that points in that direction?
I'm glad you asked. I really am. So a couple of things around here is that, we call it the Shit Show because this is about as low budget as it gets. So, there's no fancy stuff around here. In fact, you might hear all kinds of crazy noise in the background. I'm pretty sure the trash man comes around, whoever somebody's going to be hammering. So, we apologize in advance, but we're just here to have a little bit of fun. So
I'm not getting paid.
You get paid. I don't know how, but you get paid.
All right.
Maybe not even doing this.
All
but
right.
Anyway, so yeah, what we're here to talk about is nature trying to kill the human population, right? And where this comes from is there were some articles discussing how the environment is reacting to humanity, whether that be through our overpopulation, over farming, over the overuse of the resources that we have. There's an element to where there are a lot of us, and as a result, the planet seems to be creating some challenges for humanity, right? We can talk about, what was that little thing that happened a few years ago between like 2019 and 2021?
A little something called COVID-19.
That's right, the QVID, the QUIVOD,
yes.
Something like that. Not to make light of it, but I mean, it was a pretty significant bit. And I'm not going to get into whether it was, lab grown or natural or something that happened out at a food market and wherever it originated from. I do like the idea that it was lab grown, though.
Why is that?
Well, if it's human made, then it feels like it's something we can undo. But if it's natural, well, I mean, that feels like it's all kinds of odds against us kind of feel. You know what I mean?
The nature's way of letting us out of the contract. Here,
nature's powerful, man. I'm just saying, nature has a way of killing us. So, but I guess what I want to get at is, we talk about nature and its impact with humanity, especially today, and again, I'm not going to get too deep into the global warming piece, whether it's man-made or natural or exacerbated or exaggerated or whatever words you want to use to say whether or not humanity's factor or role into that is significant. What I am going to say is I only have observational knowledge, science, if you want to call it that. And that is, it seems like where I'm at, whether it be even out in the country where there's less industrialization, less urbanization, there just seems to be less things like snow in my area, where when I was a kid, there was a lot more.
I can see that. I know some places are saying they usually have about 20 inches already. Some of it piled up, and this time of year, it's common to have that. With current information, they've gotten 1 inch or they've gotten 2 inches, and it's January already, and that doesn't bode well for the people who are against global warming ideas. But what do you think the reason is, or what do you think?
Well, that I don't know. What I do know is it's really affecting the ski resorts.
I,
And people,
I
we
knew
just
it.
need to hashtag save the ski resorts. I'm just saying.
Um,
I personally am not much of a skier, but I'm just saying I hear that without the snowfall, bunny sloping, if that's what you would call it, is at an all-time low. And,
yeah.
and all of those Instagram models just can't get their bikini shots in the snow. So I think we can all agree that bikini shots in the snow are kind of the most important thing. And if global warming is jacking that up, we need to really stop. But
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good
but
reason.
but truly, when you think about factors like that, and you think about COVID, and you think about even allergies, right?
Uh-huh.
More people are having like peanut allergies and gluten allergies, and I guess to be fair, maybe more people aren't having those. Maybe social media and kind of the globalization of communication is just allowing us to see it more, or do you actually think it's more rampant?
I think it's definitely more rampant. I think in this situation, yeah, we do have 8 billion people now, where more of those people are now having allergies to nature. I mean, allergic to trees, allergic to nuts, allergic to gluten, allergic to all kinds of things. And in that situation, nature is showing us, hey, look, uh, we are showing you you're allergic to us. Die off. But of course, that will take a long time. I think it's just more rampant. I mean, autism, for example, is more rampant. We do have a higher population, but now it's 1 in 50, 1 in 30 people have it, where it used to be 1 in 100, 1 in 150 people have it.
Well, and you bring up a good point, and I guess one of the things that we'll let you know here on the shit show is that we do provide some links. Now, we're not going to attest whether these are accurate or fringe or based on any sort of scientific information, but they're just articles, opinions. In some cases, it's folks that have their own observational science, and in others, it's folks that have done studies for a good number of years. We're not going to pretend to be experts on any of those pieces. We just, as we come across those articles, we read them. It poses an interesting idea, and we're here to relay that to you. And you can provide your feedback and opinion as to whether it's viable, if it's all bunk. Again, we're not here to judge one way or the other. And I say that because where we're going to get into it are some touch points from these articles, and we're not promoting one theory or strategy over another. But one of them is, as we really overuse some of the resources available at our disposal, that it creates a natural sort of counterbalance to what we're doing. So, for example, if we're overusing the freshwater supply, which we're dependent on, then that creates, sinkholes, and it creates irrigation problems and natural processes that occur with evaporation and rainfall. All of a sudden, those are changed, right? And now we're not able to resupply those areas because they're just overused.
Mhm. I can
So,
see that. I can see that. It's a situation where we're we're losing the battle of staying alive against Earth. Earth is winning right now, and that's a situation where I think is the question: is Earth and nature, Mother Nature, doing that on purpose, or are we just causing our own misery?
well, and it's interesting you bring it up that way because that's another question. Excuse me. Excuse me. That's the other question is it a battle, right?
Mhm.
Is it something to where it's humanity versus nature? Or is it supposed to be collaborative and we're just not holding our end of the bargain up?
In that situation, it's definitely not holding up our end of the bargain. Mainly because without nature, where are we? How do we live without them or
Well,
them?
yeah, and one of the articles was pointing out, as I mentioned, food supply issues, right? We're seeing more reports of salmonella and things like that. Is that a case to where we're trying to stretch the resources we have to last longer, or we're trying to make it in such a way that the process now becomes unsafe and that introduces those things? Or is it the case that the core materials that we're using to produce these foods is Mother Nature's way of finding, toxins or increased increased incidence of salmonella and things like that? In other words, is it in the processing side of the house, or is it in the origination side of the house that we're seeing these problems?
That's a good question. That's probably where some research needs to be done as to what is it that's causing us to have to recall so many food items when the whole world needs these items. I mean, it's not a situation of, oh, we've made an overabundance, we've got plenty. It's a situation of we need more and make more, and maybe that's affecting quality, or nature is giving us worse quality items to begin with. I don't know.
And one of the other things is like birth rates, right? So it's kind of it's one of those, maybe not an oxymoron, but it certainly seems like it's an odd bit of science, right? Population is continually growing, but fertility rates, especially in what seems to be Western industrialized nations, seems to be going down. And so the question is, is that one of those factors? Is that nature's way of curtailing our population by introducing, whether it be through industrialized nations having chemicals or other things introduced in the environment that prevent fertility success? Or is it a case to where the population has just grown that there's some natural biological piece that is starting to slow down our ability to reproduce?
Biological ability to reproduce. Are you suggesting that nature is fighting back by realizing that making a same-sex couple like each other, love each other, is a situation of biological processes fighting back from nature?
Well, maybe. I mean, that's one. I mean, I know the article you're talking about. So there was an
Yes.
article that somebody wrote that says, the polyamorous increase in same-sex relations, or even body, what some people call body dysphoria and others call, biological truth. In other words, they are men or women, even though they may be born in the opposite gender. But one of the article basically kind of steps back from that and says, is that one of the conditions to population control? Because even if you want to identify and take steps towards biological change to become a woman or a man, if that's not where you started, the end result is that biologically it impacts your fertility, right? If you start to do things to convert yourself into being a man from a woman, there's an impact, especially if you make full biological changes that are often occurring when they do that can affect your ability to get pregnant later. If you're a man that becomes a woman, there's an impact to that ability to be fertile later. If you don't do any body modifications and you're just a couple that is either homosexual or lesbian in some fashion, well, those can't naturally produce a child. So without that external influence or impact, the ability to get fertilization of an egg, there is no means to reproduce that way. So the question that was posed, and again, I'm not getting to, it's probably deeper than I even wanted to get into that, because I don't have an opinion one way or the other on that, whether you want to or not. My core piece to that is, does that show an example of nature asserting a means of population control by saying, look, we're going to allow more of the population to be same-sex oriented, therefore reducing the biological reproduction through natural states, right? Because I get it. There's a scientific way to do it. There's probably plenty of sperm donation. I'm sure if any of us had needed to get a pizza back in college, we may have dropped a sample or two off. But the whole point is that those types of factors, do they contribute? In other words, is it more than just a biological push? Does it also push some brain chemistry? Does it push something to incite us to move in that direction? And again, that's a big assumption, right? There are some people that don't believe that it's a biological process that's won through nature. I don't know, or I'm sorry, that's one through nurturing rather than nature. And I can't say one way or the other. I don't walk that journey. I don't live that journey. But as we start looking at it, just again, taking it from the 30,000 foot view perspective, the question becomes, are things like that, when you take them individually, maybe they don't add up to much. but when you take it all together, does it paint this picture that nature is creating some conduit to reduce our population or to get us into control?
It's a good question. In this situation, and the situation you described, is not the only item with our fertility rates. People are not wanting to have kids. They're growing up thinking, life is better without kids. Why would I bring kids in? So it's a situation of they fully are aware of their situation. They become in their 20s, their 30s. They decide no kids, 40s, 50s, so forth. And that's also I think, a means for nature to change our thought processes. Why would I want to bring a kid in this world? I don't want to. Versus what we used to believe is that was it. That was the only way to move on with our genes, was to have children and go further with that. Now that doesn't happen.
So I guess the question we have for you out there listening is, one, do you believe nature's out to get us? Do you believe that Mother Nature is finally taken up the mantle to get humanity under control? And if so, we've brought a few things up that have come across the web. Again, we're not asking you to agree or disagree necessarily with those, but just to provide your own opinion. I mean, if you do disagree or agree with them, great, but provide your comments. Let us know what you think. Keep it civil. This is not about bashing one way or the other. We're not here to get any side too prickly over the other. All we're really posing a question of is, we've noticed that there are some articles out there. There's some health concerns, and are those being brought about because nature's trying to make a change and trying to impact humanity, who's clearly impacted different elements of the planet? We're certainly spread further than we used to be.
Yes.
So just that alone, does that have an impact? The last thing I'll bring up is, one of the examples before we go is colon cancer, right? I mean, colon cancer used to be something that you talked about in your 50s and 60s. And now there are people as young as in their 30s who are experiencing colon cancer. Is that because we're introducing chemicals into the environment that are negatively impacting us, that's causing that type of an ailment? Or is it, and in doing so, is that because we're trying to stretch food and other things to be processed unnaturally, and that has a negative impact on our bodies? Or is it a case to where population has grown, and so statistically we're just seeing a larger number of those types of incidents?
That's a question. That's a question we may never understand. I mean, I'm certainly aware that they're researching that right now. Those articles are out there. I haven't found an article that indicates an answer to that. So not sure. I know on my understanding of movie in quotes, life will find a way, and hopefully it's our life. Hopefully humans will find a way to continue and living with nature, and nature doesn't win out.
That's great. A good Jurassic Park reference. I like that. All right. Well, the ultimate poster child for nature fighting back, right? Okay. Well, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and kind of end this segment here. And what we'd like to see is your comments, any questions. Again, none of these topics necessarily go away. We bring these up time and time again as new information comes out. That's the nice thing about it is that we're open to new information, new ideas, and new trends that come up. But what we'd like to know is your opinion. Do you believe that nature is trying to snuff out humanity? Do you believe that it's all bunk and that we're all going to be able to survive whatever this is, and we'll just find yet another way to be successful? I don't know, but we'd be interested in your comments below. What do you think?
I don't know either. I think that's the fun part about asking, is see what the people think.
Well, all right. Well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna end this part of the show. And again, thanks for listening. I've been your host on this particular segment, Logan Graham.
And I'm Sydney Kay.
And we'll see you next time on The Shit Show. Welcome back to The Shit Show. And I'm, again, still your host, Logan Graham. And in this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about gaming. And specifically, we're going to talk about Baldur's Gate 3, the recent winner, I believe, of numerous awards in the Game of the Year, among others. And a game we've both played fairly well. And like, isn't that right, Sydney?
That is correct. I enjoy the game. I think it's called Pick Your Penis Game. Is that the game?
That's right, Baldur's Gate 3, the game where you can pick your penis. Yes, if you weren't aware, Baldur's Gate does have a significant amount of nudity opportunity. You can romance other characters within the game. It's every I guess video gamer stereotype nerd sitting in his mom's basement fantasy, right? But beyond the penis picking module, which if I remember correctly, you spent a good couple hours doing.
Maybe.
So, but beyond that, what did you think of the gameplay? Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. It felt like choose your own adventure mixed with obviously D&D, since I think that's where it's based off of, and then of course the good old-fashioned graphics. I feel like it immerses you in its story. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Well, good. Yeah, and that's kind of my thought too. Yeah, I believe it is based on the D&D property. One of the many D&D module pieces that are out there. But now it wasn't without its flaws. There were loading issues and game mechanics, and they constantly were patching to kind of provide a balance. But and I'm not here to go over any of the challenges you may have encountered with the game. I'm just here to talk about, really, was it a good game? What do you think? Was it a good game?
It was a good game, and for those of us who enjoy games yet have a hard time with sometimes the movement of games, I know for me, space games are tough. I get dizzy, and I'm not a great roller coaster rider, but this game gave me the ability to pull back, use the movement and be able to see and enjoy the fight scenes without getting dizzy. It was quite nice.
Yeah, because it's a turn-based game.
Yes.
So
yes.
So it's not even like real time where you're constantly moving and counter moving. In this particular game, you get your set of options and then you execute them, and then the environment, or if you're playing with other people or whatever, they get their opportunity to execute movements. So you're saying that you found that part of the gameplay a little easier to digest?
I did, very much so, especially because I'm not a fast thinker. So it gave me a chance to, when it was my turn, to decide, which option I wanted to use to strike or go against an opponent, and which choice to make. It wasn't necessarily had to do it quickly to live. It was make your decision and have time to think about it beforehand.
Yeah, you did create quite a snooze fest when we played together. That's right. Well, it was kind of like playing chess in the park, right?
It is.
Where, and you and I have done that, right? We've played chess games and they've lasted, weeks, mainly so that I can find different ways to cheat at moving. But yeah, I get it. You can take your time to plan your action and movement. I know that some of the other MMOs we played where the action was constant or in real time, the challenge was you're having to think about what that next step is going to be while you're performing a step, and that can be daunting for some people playing games. I get that.
Daunting and dizzy. Always made me dizzy.
Well, that's true. And if you're one of those folks that, especially with these graphics today, they're very high fidelity in the way they go and high resolution. And as a result, if you got some motion sensitivity, it can create a challenge. But this one wasn't too bad. Even the swinging dongs that you were picking.
Well, there's good news on that. If you do have children, there is a PG or PG-13 rated type of version.
Yeah, but that's not really for them to play. I wouldn't recommend the kids playing the game. But if you're playing it and you don't want them to catch you in the middle of playing it with the nude filter on, you have the option to turn that off. So that's good.
Good news. Okay.
You can also kind of tone down the violence. You can make it to where it's a fairly enjoyable game that's still edgy, but not going into that explicit territory. So
what age?
What age? I don't know. That's good.
Older?
We'll provide somewhere below what the age requirement is in the link, so you guys can check it out.
Just curious. Okay.
I would say based on the many hours you spent on the dong filter that it was probably going to be at least 18 plus, but or 17 and older. But I don't know. I think that that's up to your call as a parent or player if you let your children play it. But we're just here to review the game to say I enjoyed it.
I did too.
I liked the campaign. I will say this: it seemed more developed in the first and second chapter than it did in that final chapter, but it was still good. It was still rewarding to me.
Well, I haven't finished it. So have you changed your stories? Have you chosen all good? Or have you chosen all bad?
That's a good point. You can kind of modify your choices, right?
Right.
And then they have I believe they have this really hardcore mode where you don't get to save, or there's a limited number of saves, and so you have to kind of go through it without dying, or more importantly, living with your choices. Because I can tell you right now, I really wish there was a save and restore option in my life, because I make a lot of bad choices, and it would be nice to go back and say, let's try that again.
Okay, that's a unique feature. Like I said, I haven't finished the game, so I'm glad you reminded me to keep saving it until I get the right choice.
Well, and it's anytime I would pick like this major move, or I would go into a new room, and sometimes even then I'd still miss it. But the nice thing is that if you save with enough frequency, you can go back to a point in time that allows you to kind of alter those choices. But I tried to make all the choices and saves with one particular character alignment, and for any of you that know me, yes, it was good, not necessarily evil. Everybody thinks I'm chaotic, evil, or that I'm a more on the dark side type player, and I am. But in this particular instance, I wanted to see how the story played out.
How the other side lives.
Well, and to be honest, the whole game lets you have intimate relations with some of those NPC companions that you have, and so once I realized that, because I had to have somebody tell me that, like when I was playing the game, like that's like a thing, right? And so once somebody told me that you could romance your NPC characters, well, then my whole gameplay became around how can I say the right thing to basically bone one of those characters.
So just like high school, got it.
Pretty much. But it added an element to the game. I mean, you won't find that in like Call of Duty. There's no way I'm going to be like, hey Todd,
Sorry.
that's a nice dong filter you got. And I can't help but notice the way you hold that M16's pretty swinging. And we got lots of gun oil and nothing to do. I'm just saying.
You don't have a whole lot of time. No downtime in that situation.
No, but by the time I even got that, hey Todd, there's usually some hacker that's already popped me. So it's not exactly turn-paced. So.
Okay, back to Baldur's Gate, right?
Yeah, Baldur's Gate. That's right. Just thinking about Todd and his gun oil. But yeah, I enjoyed the game. I think you did too.
I did too. I did enjoy the game. I did not know that relations were available at the time, so now I know.
Uh-huh.
I may spend longer on the game.
So here at the Shit Show, we have a rating system.
Mm-hmm.
It's real simple, right? We'll add some other elements to it, but it's real simple. So this game,
yes,
shit or get off the pot? You need a reminder. Shit means it's good.
Okay, yeah.
Get off the pot means leave it alone.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go with shit. It's a good game.
There you go. Sydney says shit. There it is. I don't know. We should probably add some other rating systems, right? I don't know. Like, is it a double flusher? Or is it a double wipe? I don't know. Probably getting a little too graphic there. But
yes.
Anyway, so I agree. I think it's a shit, right? I think this is a game you should try if you haven't. It's worth getting. I think it's got a lot of playability too, because you can go from being a good character to a bad character to, we'll call it neutral, but somebody who, one way or the other. Maybe you're a bad character, but you're not going to murder all the children in the orphanage. And by the way, there are no orphanage killing children in there, although there are some pretty dark themes. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I agree with you. I think this is a good game to get.
I do too. I especially like the fact that I play without getting dizzy for a period of time. Sometimes the other games I could get dizzy within 5 seconds, and this one I'm hours in and not yet.
That's right. Hours in, all spent on the dong filter. All right. With that said, we're going to end it out. Get Baldur's Gate. Give it a try. We'll put the details below as to how you can connect, buy, and try the Baldur's Gate. And with that said, this has been the Shit Show Game Review. Thanks. Right. Welcome back to the Shit Show. Again, I'm still your host, Logan Graham. And now we're going to talk about anime. We change our topics and subjects, but this particular go, we're going to talk about some anime shows. And today I've got Anime Girl. Say hello, Anime Girl.
Hey, what's up?
And today, Anime Girl, which show are we going to talk about?
Romantic Killer.
Romantic Killer. That sounds pretty violent. Is it a violent show?
Nope.
Okay. What's the show about? How does it start?
It starts when a girl wants a game to pick, so she picks a game.
Like a video game or like a board game?
Video game.
Okay, so she picks a video game
And she accidentally spilled some water, so she wiped it off. And a
Oh,
fairy
wait,
came
so
out.
she spilled water on the video game?
Yes.
And it didn't break it, but instead what happened?
She wiped it, and a fairy came out.
So it's like rubbing a magic lamp. She spilled water on the video game and a fairy came out. And what's this fairy do?
This fairy was bored, so she said, "You're gonna have 3 guys fall in love with you, and at the end of the day, you have to pick one."
Oh my gosh. So the fairy sets up basically a little love, I guess it'd be a love quartet, right? Because there are 4 of them. Because there's the
Yes.
girl and 3 guys, right?
Mhm.
And so is it a whole series of like adventures and situations?
Yes.
All right. And so I guess the question is, this girl, did she want romance?
No.
And who's the girl? What's her name?
Anya.
Okay. Anya. And does the fairy have a name or do you know?
No, she calls her the devil.
So she calls the fairy the devil, right? So why is this girl so against romance?
Because she just want to be alone with her cat, Chocolate, and video game.
Okay, so she just likes to play video games and play with her cat. Well, who doesn't want to do that? All right, well, that being said, I don't want to give away the ending, so we won't say whether there's a happy ending or whether there's success or not. But did you like the show?
Yes.
Okay. And who do you know the names of the 3 guys that she's supposed to fall in love with?
No.
No, okay. But they're in there. Do they all look different or they all look the same or?
They all look different. One has blonde hair, one is black hair, another one has a little lighter blonde.
Gotcha, so like a dirty blonde.
Mhm.
All right. And without giving it away, did you have a favorite?
Yes.
All right. And so I guess the question I have now is, with regard to, what's the name of the show again?
Romantic Killer.
All right. And is it the only one show? Is it like a series of episodes?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a sequel or it's just the one? There's just one show with several episodes, or is there like multiple shows about different girls or different romantic things?
Well, there's other romantic anime, but that one anime only has that one girl with 3 guys.
Gotcha. So we have a rating system here on the Shit Show. If you like it, it's shit. If you don't, it's get off the pot. So when you think about this show, is it a shit or get off the pot?
A shit.
All right. So you heard it here first. Anime Girl says this show is worth taking a shit. So check it out. It's Romantic Killer. And where can you watch it?
On Netflix.
Netflix. Got it. So Romantic Killer on Netflix. Thanks, Anime Girl.
You're welcome.
Welcome back. I'm Logan Graham, still here on The Shit Show. And in this segment, we're going to talk about language, specifically slang, specifically cool words we can use. Because, you know, the language changes so often these days, and I personally feel like sometimes I get way out of touch. And so today, I've got our linguist and our language expert, G. Say hello, G.
Hello.
All right, G. So lay it on me. Lay it on me, girl. What's our special couple of words we're going to learn today?
Riz and bussin'.
Riz and bussin'. Riz and bussin'. Okay, I'm at a loss. What is Riz?
Riz is basically the charm or style of a person.
Charm or style of a person. So like and how would you say it? Like if I had a lot of charm, I'd be like a rizzer,
No, the
Risen?
Rizzler.
Or
Rizzler.
the Rizzler.
The Rizzler.
Sounds a lot like the Riddler.
No, the Rizzler.
Rizzler. And what does Riz mean? Like how would you use it?
basically is a pickup line.
It's a pickup line. So why can't we just say it's a pickup line? Does it take
Because
too
Riz
long?
sounds cooler.
Because Riz sounds cooler? All right, maybe debatable, but we'll go with that. So, like a pickup line would be, hey, baby, let's you and I make like a tree and get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah?
No.
No? Or how about this one? Hey, you know what? Let me see the back of your shirt. And I'll look at the label and I'll go, yeah, just like I thought, you were made in heaven.
That's Riz.
That's Riz?
Yeah, it's almost cringe.
Almost cringe? What does cringe mean?
When you don't like something or it just makes you feel weird.
Okay. So
It's
it's like an awkward statement. Okay. All right. So that's Riz. I get Riz. I think I have Riz down. It's basically a pickup line. Got it. And what's bussin'?
Well, bussin' is basically if I were to eat something and like, oh, this is bussin'. Basically just means it's really, really good.
So is it only food related?
No, it can be for like movies, shows, other things like that. It just basically points out that's good.
So basically anything that's good is bussin'. All right. So my Riz skills are bussin'. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, there you go, right?
Yes.
It's because my skills as the Rizzler are bussin'. I rode the bus today and it was bussin'. Would that work?
No.
No? All right. So let me ask you something. Do you think these words will last a long time, or do you think they're going to disappear? Like,
Well, just like 2019 words and like 2021 words, I think they'll probably disappear over time. But let's just use them while we can. I mean, it's so cool now.
So what did they replace? Like, what did bussin' replace?
Bussin' has kind of been around for a while, but the Riz did replace something.
What did it replace?
Like, it replaced Yas Queens.
Yas Queen.
Yes, we used to say that.
So, okay, so what does that mean?
It basically means you're cool. You did something cool.
Right? So, Yas Queen, I'm a Rizzler who's bussin'. Would that work?
Absolutely not. You'd be bullied in school.
Oh my God. Okay. So, is there an age limit on when you can use these words?
I'd say 35 and up.
Like, you should not use them if you're 35 and old.
Yes.
All right. So, we have a rating system here for these things, right? On the shit show. It's either shit or get off the pot. So these words, do you think they're going to be around for a while and we should shit because we're going to keep using them? Or get off the pot because they're not going to last long?
Get off the pot. I don't think they'll last so long, but use them while you can.
Use them while you can. You heard it here first. G is telling you, use these words while you can, only if you're under 35. Don't even touch them if you're over 35. But if you're under 35, use them while you can. Thanks for being on the show, G.
You're welcome. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me.
Yeah, no worries. All right, there you have it. You've had your language expert tell you all about Riz and bussin'. Use those words wisely.